Good morning, MYP1. This is your lesson from home for Thursday, the 10th of June, 2021. So a video just for this lesson. And I'm needing you to write stuff down, take some notes. So get some paper, and I'm needing you to pause the video at various times so you can stop and take nice notes. So today's lesson is all about ratio and similarity. So two shapes are said to be similar. Danish word ligedener, if they have the same basic form but different sizes. So what I mean by that, these two triangles here, they've both got 90 degrees, they've both got 37 degrees, and they've both got 53 degrees at the top. So they're the same basic shape as each other, except for one is a scaled up version of the other. So where this one is 4, this one is 8. Where this one is 3, this one is 2. Where this one is 5, this one is 10. So one is basically twice as big as the other. They're in the ratio 1 to 2. For every 1 in this of length, you've got 2 of that in length. So you multiply everything in this one by everything in this one by 2 to get everything in this one. So the lengths in the big one are all double the small one, and generally speaking, corresponding pairs of sides in similar figures are always in the same ratio. So corresponding pairs, this one compared to this one compared to this one compared to this one, they're always in the ratio, in this case, 1 to 2. So corresponding in Danish, tilsvarende, if you're interested. So I want you to pause the screen, write down all of this super neatly as notes. Now these triangles, all you really need to do is do the 4 centimeters in your books, if you've got books or graph paper, and then 3 centimeters up. And then as long as you do the 4 and the 3 and they're right angles to each other, then the other side will come out to be 5 and the angles will come out to be 37 and 53. So you don't really have to do a lot of measuring. As long as you get the 4 and the 3 right, they'll be the right size. And the same thing with the 6 and the 8. So if you've got squares in your books, it's usually 5mm squares. So 4 centimeters will be 8 squares. 8 centimeters will be 16 little squares. Okay, so pause the screen and do make sure that's written down nicely in your books. And then when you've done that, you can restart the video and move on to the next thing. And the next thing is an example. So triangle ABC, that's this one, from A to B to C, and triangle LMN are similar, so L to M to N. Find X, so find out what X is, this missing side, also known as BC, because it's the side that goes from B to C, so you can call it BC, or you can call it X. So I want you to find out the value of that thing, X. So you might want to have a go about that. Have a go at that in rough, using whatever ideas you've got. But when you've had to think about it, then I'm going to reveal how you should set this out. Okay, so pause the video while you do that and restart the video when you're ready. Okay, so moving on, here's the answer. So what you need to say is, because they're similar triangles, then X in the little triangle divided by 12 in the big triangle, the corresponding sides, is going to be the same as 4.2 in the little triangle divided by 10.5 in the big triangle. So X divided by 12 equals 4.2 divided by 10.5. This divided by this is the same as that divided by that. X over 12 equals 4.2 over 10.5 because the triangles are similar. Well, I don't want to know what X divided by 12 is. I want to know what a whole big fat hairy X is. So I'm going to multiply everything by 12 to get a whole X. But then, because because it's an equation and equations need to balance, I've got to multiply the other side by 12 as well. So multiplying both sides of this equation by 12, I get it to be x equals 4.2 times 12 divided by 10.5. And that's just numbers, so you can just work that out as 4.8. So the missing side, x, is 4.8. So once again, pause the screen while you write that down nicely. And then when you're ready, move on. Okay, so moving on. Here's another question. All a little bit messy, this. I should tidy this up. So that's supposed to say example. Triangle ABC is similar to triangle XYZ. So that one is similar. It's the same shape to that one. So you've got some sides in here, 3, 4.5, 5.5. You've got 5.1 there. Find xy, so find the distance from x to y, find the length of that side. And then question 2, find yz, so find the distance from y to z, find that side. I've written diagrams not drawn to scale. If you're ever in an exam situation doing one of these, they tend to make the diagrams a bit wrong deliberately so that you don't get the answer just by measuring a diagram. So anyway, the way you approach this is to say, so here's the answer to question 1, finding xy. You've got to say, okay, xy that I'm trying to find out divided by the corresponding side in the other triangle, 5.5, is going to be the same as the 5.1 that I know in the big triangle divided by the corresponding side that I know, 3, in the little triangle. So this divided by this is going to be the same as this divided by this. So I write down xy divided by 5.5 equals 5.1 divided by 3. Now I don't want to know what xy divided by 5.5 is, I want to know what a whole xy is. So I need to multiply everything by 5.5 to get a whole xy. But because an equation is like a balance, I need to do exactly the same on the left as I do on the right. So multiplying both sides by 5.5, I get xy equals 5.1 times 5.5 divided by 3. And that's all numbers, so you can just punch it into the calculator and you get that xy is 9.35. So that's 9.35. So I want you to try and do answer number 2 in a similar way. So figure out yz. So try and set it out like this one. Again, pause the video to take notes from this. Keep the video paused while you have a go at doing answer number 2, and then when you've attempted answer number 2, or when you're completely stuck, move on. Okay, so moving on now, here's answer number 2. So a little bit messy because we did it in class and somebody came up to the board, but to find out yz, you've got to say yz divided by 4.5 equals 5.1 divided by 3. This divided by this is going to be the same as this divided by this. So yz divided by 4.5 equals 5.1 divided by 3. I don't want to know what yz divided by 4.5 is. I want to know what a complete yz is. So I multiply everything by 4.5, both on the left and also on the right, because I need to maintain the balance of the equation. And I get yz equals 5.1 times 4.5 divided by 3, which you can work out to be 7.65. By the way, all this highlighting, this is just because we did it in class and I had people up to the board filling in the gaps that I'd highlighted. So it's not necessary for you to highlight quite so much here when you do this in your books. So if you haven't already got this written down looking like this, then do pause the screen now, do pause the video and do that now. And when you're ready to move on, here we go. Okay, this one we've got to find x. And the key to this is the parallel lines, because although this looks like a triangle with a line in the middle of it, it's actually a triangle within another triangle. So a big triangle and a little triangle within it. And because they share one side on the right, and because they share one side on the left, and because the two blue lines are actually parallel, so you can see the little arrow indicators telling you that these are parallel lines, then all of the lines in the big triangle and the little triangle are going in the same direction. So therefore all the angles are the same, and they're similar triangles. So you're using the fact that you've got similar triangles to figure out the missing value x here if you've got a 5 there, a 3 there, an 8 there, and x there. So copy that down and have a go at it, and pause the video when you're ready. Unpause the video and then unpause the video when you're ready to move on. Okay, so here we are. So you need to split the diagram up into two similar triangles. So the 5 with the 8 and the 3 with the x. And then you've just got to say the x that I want to know divided by the 8 is going to be the same as the 3 divided by the 5. X over 8 equals 3 over 5. Multiply both sides by 8 to get a whole x. Then you get x equals 3 times 8 divided by 5, which is 4.5.